Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to IBM TV Chess Show. And my name is Sasha Star, and I would like to introduce our esteemed guest. Today we have Grandmaster Suat Atalik. Welcome to the show, Suat.
Hi, Sasha. How are you doing?
Great to have you. And Professor Kenneth Regan. Welcome to the show,
Thank
Ken.
you very much for having me again, and a toast to the Happy New Year. You
Oh,
might
yeah.
recognize from the design that this is FIDE's logo for the 2016 match
Oh,
uh, uh,
fantastic.
in New
Looks
York.
very good.
So, yep.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the 2016 match was quite interesting. It was well fought, and actually, Karyakin looks like he had the real chances to become a world champion, at least for a while. But then, of course, he succumbed to Carlsen, and especially in repeat chess. Of course, there was no real competition. Same thing with Caruana happened. So we all thought that Nepomniachtchi, he's the one really who is going to punish Carlsen and inflict heavy damages to him. And most of this panel on our show, most of them predicted either Nepo would win. Um, in classical chess, by the way, not in rapid, or it will be very hardly fought match with a uncertain outcome. Now, the reality was quite different. And first question to you, Suat, is it what happened in the match something what you expected? What are your impressions of the match?
Actually, I'm still writing an article on this match, and
Hmm.
I couldn't finish because of my, I wouldn't say laziness, but it's really tough. I would say like the first six games were serious, or seven games. Half of them were fought well by Nepomniachtchi, but uh, in some way the match proves that this guy Carlsen is pretty strong. I didn't have any kind of estimation before the match because a match is a match. I mean, the Nepomniachtchi didn't have real match experience, and Carlsen himself well pointed out something interesting that when Nepomniachtchi loses a game, he is not back. There are certain times that he really collapses. Meanwhile, he's not this collapsing type. He always plays in the same level, and which Topalov also said during a game, he's not getting tired, so he's not suffering from fatigue, and he's actually playing much better on the last hours of a game. And well, I believe also that there was a case that should be a very big scandal in the match that Kalsa made a touch move,
I,
and
uh,
that's really very big.
I
And
I don't think so. I mean, he went like this, is my understanding. There was nobody at the board, and
yeah,
you know,
that's an interesting issue for the arbiters. Okay, now I want to say, like, first of all, back in time we had real arbiters. I mean, Stahlberg, Kotov,
mhm.
well, Lothar Schmidt, they were all chess players. Um, the Arab guy who is the main arbiter, I'm strictly against such an idea.
No,
Somebody who never. Hmm?
I've corresponded with him because I was on a lot of cheating detection for tournaments played online in Asia. So, um,
Well,
Hmm.
whoever he
mhm,
is, you can't have a guy who never played chess in his life. Now, the second thing, in all
mhm.
these world championship matches, or in all these important matches since Spassky Korchnoi, 1977, Belgrade, they have this ridiculous rule to put a monitor on the toilets for the chess players. And Nepomniachtchi overdid it. So he was not present over the board, Nepomniachtchi. But Carlsen touched knight f6 with the idea to move it. It's not
Oh,
like
yeah.
he just did it. Very clearly, he wanted to play knight f6 d7. Then he noticed d5, and then he played h6. Now, in such matches, obviously we know that when someone wins the first game, I don't want to say like he was he would have played knight d7. The other one would have played d5. Probably they would exchange, and he would have played something like knight b4. But he would have a pretty bad position. So this is a really very bad moment for chess, and nobody really touched into this because it's a double fault. The guy is not coming
But
to
wait a
the
moment.
board.
A question, short. If Nepomniachtchi was not at the board when
Yeah.
Carlsen touched, or supposedly touched the knight, what about the arbiters? Were they?
Should
Did they
interfere
see it?
because look, this is not a regular touch. I mean, the guy touches the piece in order to play it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the player is over the board or not.
What about
I mean,
the arbiters? Did you see it?
well, they have to. What is their job? They really have to. They have to watch. I mean, there is only one game going on. This is always with the arbiters. I can understand where there are multiple games and there is camera surveillance. I Now it has more issues. I mean, I don't want to touch it. If Nepomniachtchi was really supported by the Russians, it's another story. I'm not a. I really do not know much about this guy Nepomniachtchi. Just don't sympathize with him, or I'm not against him, just like any of these players. But on the other hand, now there is a logic with the touch move. Normally, you say jadup before touching
Absolutely.
anything. When your opponent is not in front of you, to
Yeah.
whom you say jadup. But on the other hand, when you have the intention to touch a piece, in order to play it, which the guy clearly had. Clearly, he touched knight f6 in order to play it. And now the arbiter, in my opinion, should interfere. And
Okay.
he
So
had to
so
play the knight.
so Carlsen, of course, realized that he's playing in front of cameras, and whether Nepomniachtchi is at the board or he's not at the board, everything will be recorded, and then,
Exactly.
of course, scrutinized, analyzed, and so on and on and on. So how Carlsen then would defend his action? Forget
No, he
about
wouldn't. No,
the
look, he wouldn't. I mean, this is from Kasparov to him, and he himself, he did it with somebody like Boris Savchenko before in a blitz game or whatever. I mean, they don't care, what Kasparov did with Judith Polgar or what Azmay Parashvili eventually did with Malahov. He just even um, made a made the calculation and he played the second move first, losing a rook, and then took it back. Just, uh, I mean, it's not like I don't want to overdo on the case, but also the second thing, partially, since this, Spassky Korchnoi, Spassky stopped appearing in the tournament hall, and in this match, it was really another part of the scandal. It's interacting with the scandal, is a part of scandal, it's another issue, but they should stop putting these monitors, in players' toilets. Basically, he started to play some part of the match in the toilet. And in one of the games, Carlsen really waited too long for the guy to resign. All he had to do is just to come back and resign. Actually, when he uh, let his bishop to be surrendered in the B7 square.
yes, I
So
remember.
I mean, it's a very sad case for me. I really couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. And otherwise, the guy is strong. He doesn't care. Somehow it also looks like people want to continue with Carlsen. I mean, he became an industry in some way, and nobody touched the issue, including Nepomniachtchi himself. He has all these tournaments with his shorts and eating noodles on the internet. The people are happy with it. He's the people's champion. Nobody likes Nepomniachtchi, in my opinion. And okay, so that's what I would like to say as the important part of the match for me. That the guy is strong. Usual case. No holds are barred. He can do anything. He can sleep. He can make a touch move. Nobody cares. And in my opinion, also They should stop this thing. Everything should go to the chess players. They shouldn't have a non-chess player main arbiter for a world championship match.
Well, I thought Abdurrahim is a 2000-ish player, 2100. Let me look up.
2000ish player is not a player.
Okay.
For me, it's not a player. I mean, there are a lot of 2000ish people in Turkey. There is a fabric that they organize this factory for these people. 2000, 2100. Even now, I think they will become around 400 with a force of Mr. Sholak, who decided to become a 2000 player factory. It's just a 2000 player is the guy who touched chess pieces a little bit.
But are there any qualifications would be warranted to say that, for example, the arbiter of a world championship has to be a minimum, say, 24, maybe even 25?
No, but
No.
look, it's all this Grigorich, all these people. It's another, it's another level. I don't wanna so much defend the issue about, for instance, Lothar Schmidt, his decisions in a couple of matches, whatever. But you have a chess player there. I mean,
No, but
chess
Stuart, you remember in the old times, the main, the arbiter of the world championship match was a grandmaster like Lothar Schmidt, like Gligorich, like
Stalder, Grigorich.
Stauber, yeah.
Yep.
So there is tradition of well-known grandmasters being chief arbiters, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
what's happened? There are now 2,000 grandmasters in the world. Can they find one to be an arbiter?
Yeah.
well, I think the distance is bigger. I mean, we don't have FIDA board members from the chess players, very few, and even the ones we have for a very long time, nobody is happy with it. Or they quit the game of chess long time ago, and and some of them are like what you well pointed out, 2000.
Oh.
I like the issue, but in critical times when from the streamers to the analyzers to even to the trainers, and when it comes to the arbiters, you have to be a chess player, and you have to have
Yeah.
a logic behind it. It shouldn't be artificial. It's
Yeah,
not like some 2000ish player checking.
No, let me correct myself. His rating is in the 1300s. I misremembered a reference to.
Okay, so even
he's
this,
the
look,
expert,
it
yeah.
doesn't matter. I
Ken,
mean, the guy should be somebody, first of all, respected by the players.
It's even worse than you think. It's a title of the book about Donald Trump by David Ken Johnson, Pulitzer Prize winner. That's the name of the book. It's even worse than you think.
Yeah,
What you
and,
just
and
told us.
the other thing that I noted is you are right, Sawat, that the move was move 18 of the game. But chess24.com has a tweet where it shows the diagram at move 19, but on the video of the board itself, the H pawns are still on H2 and H7. So it was not move 19. I could show this just briefly on my screen, but this is important to me journalistically to just clarify this point. Is
Okay.
here's the
but Kenneth, I mean, we played this game. Whoever writes for Chess24, whoever writes for Chess Base, I just was reading today, yesterday, whatever, about this recent case.
Yeah.
Italian kid playing with Nigel Short.
right.
Okay, so this is whoever writes whatever about this case is ridiculous. The guy was cheating. The moves. I mean, all of a sudden, he had the revelation to play. I mean, Nigel is rusty. It's a tournament in Italy.
Yeah, I mean,
14
Nigel's
months.
rust clearly shows in the game because he made a big blunder, move 14 or so.
Well, whoever played the cheater was really becoming rusty. You play some kid and one kid that you know nothing about. Nobody knew anything. It's Borislav Ivanov of Italy, newborn. and
Mhm.
comes to the game, and all of a sudden he starts doing all these great moves: Queen D4, F4, Knight D6, Knight D F7. He's all around you, and
Wow.
then he,
Yeah, he's
he
about
proved
2140. The opponent is what I place his rating at.
okay, like 24, 24, 40, like till somebody is 2400 and some experience. We played with people being 2300, 2200 past, in the past that they were okay, they had decent level in their own. Nobody heard about the kid. I never heard about the kid, like he never played. I don't know where he get his 2100 also together with the Arab arbiter in the same tournament. I really don't. I don't care.
Mhm.
But then people start writing about it. It's impossible for the guy to play like this. And he intruded a cell phone into the tournament hall
Right.
when his
Of
father
course.
is waiting outside.
Oh, I didn't realize his father was waiting outside.
Yeah, well,
That's
I watched this since I followed things in a unnecessarily, you know, attentive way, I would call. And his father was bragging something about in his pidgin English, like, yeah, well, my son plays the grandmaster, the great grandmaster, and all right, just at least they could have the decency. And Bazzo, who happens to be, somebody with whom I recently even played, he's an organizer and a pretty much decent player. Okay, he didn't throw the guy out because chess became really economical. I mean, this whole great science of economy has one important thing: demand and supply. Now they really demand for such a thing. Oh yeah, kid, great Italian kid, 2100. His father is waiting outside, 14 years old. Played a great game somehow first and last time in his life,
And
and the
then you go
result.
to social media and you will get a million likes, and then you become celebrity, and then
right.
somebody will write a book about it, and then there will be a movie about it, and so on and on, right? But tell me, I'm curious about this. The touch move. Remember that a Russian Chess Federation is working very, very hard trying to get the crown to back to Russia. They're obsessed with that. They supported Nema any way they could. Now, the FIDE is supposedly also run by Russian Chess Federation, same officials, same sponsorship, same companies are providing sponsorship for FIDE and Russian Chess Federation. Okay. So how come then neither Nepomniachtchi nor Russian Chess Federation lodged a protest or at least further investigation into it, and it was just almost gone? How does it work, in your opinion? Ken,
That's
what?
amazing, yeah.
Right. It's a good question. I mean, um, I don't know. I actually thought I just viewing it on the video now. It's also uh, seems more clearly that he intended to move the piece than someone's opinion about which I had read.
Mhm.
Um, the item that I showed on the screen, though, has a technicality underneath saying that a touch move infraction has to be claimed, and Nepomniachtchi was not at the board. Uh, Beyond that, I don't know what the rules are, but perhaps that existence, that procedure could have played in. Um, I honestly don't know.
Stuart, what's your opinion?
No, well, he should be forced to play the knight. For me, it's very clear. There is
But,
no doubt
but
about it.
hold on,
It's
Nepomniachtchi.
it's it's not also completely clear to me from the video angle that he actually touches the knight. Clearly, his fingers are in front of it, but
Well, he was basically touching the lower part of the knight. It was not like he was trying to adjust it, but it really doesn't
yeah,
matter.
clearly his hand is poised to move it.
Yeah,
I'll agree with
because
that.
he touched
Yeah.
and the move he played is a conjunction with the touch move. So he wanted to play the knight. This is how chess plays. Logic is he wanted to play knight d7. He missed d5 because of the tactics on the e line, and then he played h6. in
To
order to
make
play
loft.
next moves knight d7, knight f8. He had some
Mhm.
idea. h6 was in connection with what he played, even
Mhm.
showing that. But okay, rule is a rule. Like in the rule, actually, I read the rule once again in the FIDE book.
Yeah.
It's not like should be claimed or not. This part is they just a little bit cut short, certain items in FIDE rules.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we got arbiter. So what would have happened if he would take the knight and put somewhere and then play somewhere? I mean, I don't want to have an analogy. It's two separate cases sometimes. But
yeah.
now, very important thing, what Sasha said, like why there was no protest from the Russian part. Did they really, resign the match mentally? What?
I
Besides,
think there is
Mhm.
one. I think you mentioned that, but I would like to explain that right now there is, of course, FIDE is a ruling body of chess. But there is a Carlson's private industry. Actually, it's not even private, it's a public company now that runs everything from new chess to chess able to just all
yeah,
kinds of chess businesses, publications, and this and that. So maybe there was a reluctance to go against Carlson that the benefits are not obvious at all, but the consequences could be quite heavy. You'll never get any arbiter's job anymore. You will get basically you will be ostracized from all chess tournaments, and you will lose your stipends and other designations and all the stuff. And that is weighting very heavily on people who were supposed to lodge protest, investigate it, ask Carlson to actually make the move. It's one issue. The second issue is how is a chess world, which is becoming basically a public sport, which millions of people are watching the broadcasts of all tournaments, never mind World Championship, which is number one chess show in the world. How the player can leave the board and go away for half an hour or 15 minutes? It's the same thing. Like, let's see, can you imagine? It's Chelsea is playing Manchester United. So Chelsea lost the Manchester United has a ball. So Chelsea is going for a walk and they're enjoying themselves. Now they're coming back. They got the ball. And Manchester United leaves the field. And they're going just to have a drink. And then they will come back 15 minutes later. Can you imagine something like that? Why the chess? They are making millions of dollars. And in fact, I'm under impression that all Carlson and Nepomniachtchi care is just to divide the prize fund, put a million euros in their pockets, and just walk away without any responsibilities, anything like that. That really kills all these efforts of organizers from FIDE and whatever Magnus is trying to do. It just kills. It makes it non-event. Makes it almost dirty, really. What you see?
no,
What's
it's
happening?
totally degenerated. Look, it's really, really degenerated. I mean, number one thing, there are people watching. They only see one guy. Okay, they always, all these people, speaking about any tournament, about short throws, and they always say like, "We want to watch," and nobody even touches this thing. Then comes the second one, is about the cheating control in some way. When your opponent is not over the board, you have to be some Norwegian character like Kasan that you don't care. Remember what happened in Topalov Kramnik match. It's not
I
like
remember.
at the beginning of the century, of last century. So there is something. Why do they put these monitors into the toilet for some guy thinks there? And
Well,
then
that's why. Yeah.
comes very very important thing about the touch move issue. That I mean, I mean we got examples always. For instance, they start talking about this bishop b7 and Fischer's bishop takes h2. This is completely different, these two things. We chess players, we know that Fischer's bishop takes h2 is more playable than this leaving the bishop on b7. It's completely different. But
Absolutely.
when Kasparov made the I mean, took the night and let it
This
go
Judith.
with Judith
Yeah.
Polgar. Okay, well, I played all these people, not Kasparov, but the rest of the people I will mention. Okay, so at that time, Kasparov was dominating the way Carlsen dominated, you know,
Right.
in a business wise speaking, he was dominating. So if Judith would call the move, everybody knew that she would never get invited to Linares. Never, ever. She would have become another Halifman. She would have become, I don't know, another Salov.
Yeah, because
The same.
remember, Rentero, who was organizing Linares, he was a friend of
Exactly.
Kasparov. So
Mhm.
that was a real threat, yeah.
Kasparov was making the list. Now it comes the same thing with Malahov. Well, some typical chess player who never gave anything to anyone,
Mhm.
and that he plays with Azmai Parashvili. And this is one of the last rounds, the penultimate round in the European Championship, where
Mhm.
Azmai Parashvili won the title. And Azmai Parashvili, the same story. Kasparov, Carlsen, not chess wise that strong, but he has some political strength. He's always with with FIDE, with ECU, whatever. So the guy just instead of gaining a bad enemy, he had a great friend. I don't know how he would use this guy, and he gave him back to move the rook and everything. And I think I don't know. I think he even lost the game, or he drew the game. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. Let's have 1 minute or even half minute break, and we will continue right
Yeah,
after this
sure.
message.
Mhm.
Okay, let's come back to chess, the modern investing. That's my other shows that I have on IBM TV, and of course, I wish everybody have successful investments in this 2022. Now, coming back to chess, there was a talk about Carlsen. Actually, he himself mentioned that he is not going to defend the title in classical chess anymore unless the challenger will be Ferrugia. That's interesting thought. So, are we coming to times of Kasparov and Short having one championship and Karpov another championship? Are we coming to that idea? Because there will be candidates tournament very soon. And if I would put a wager, I think I could put a wager that Ferrugia is not going to win it.
Yeah.
Not that he is not that strong. He is very strong, and I actually some of his game I really admire. I saw this his three Caracan games with the black pieces. What he played, I think it was New in Chess or somewhere, and I looked at these games. He's fantastic, but I am afraid that all other chess players they will gank against Firuja,
Sure.
including Nepomniachtchi and Karyakin and some other characters. So most likely he will not win the tournament. So then Carlsen is out, according to what he said. And so we will have what Nepomniachtchi as a challenger will play the winner of the candidates. And if he is a winner also, then he will be declared the world champion. Like how it's going to work? What do you think, Stuart?
Well, first of all, whatever Carlsen said is very childish. But for a long while, uh, chess scenes became really an arena for children. I, I mean, how many times Morozevich quit the game and came back? Or how many times Kramnik or whoever, everybody quits and then come back. Why do they tell like they gotta quit? So, first of all, I don't take serious whatever he says. Second, technically speaking, Firuzia had a meteoric race, and first he established himself in internet tournaments, rapid tournaments, whatever. He could play with all of them in all these rapids and blitzes, and then his rise, ending up in European Teams Championship. I guess
Hmm.
beating Mamedierov in the last round in a strange rook opponent game. Even at that, it was something reminiscent of
Hmm.
actually exactly the same position from Teichmann Alapin, where Alapin found the move. Well, it's everything is good. I'm not the person who will come up with any kind of guesses. In my opinion, Fruzia may win the tournament as well, or may not win. I don't consider him a favorite, technically. Just
Yeah,
like
well,
what you
he's
well,
one of 8 players, so
yeah,
by the
he's,
numbers, he's
anybody could beat that, and once again, he doesn't have experience in this type of tournaments.
Agree. Yeah.
This
Ken,
which is very important.
what do you think are the chances of Firuja to become a challenger?
okay. So the chance of Rouge to become challenger, I would say he'd have about a 30 to 40% chance in the field of
Oh,
8. That's certainly bigger than 12%.
oh my God, it's very high. So,
Yeah.
what are the chances of Nepomniachtchi to become a challenger again?
Well, obviously, I'm putting everyone a little lower than Firouzja. So, I mean, their ratings are lower. So, I could just get that by following the mathematical formulas as they stand.
Hmm.
Firouzja's number 2 in the world. So, um, but there's particularity involved. I mean, I don't at this time know who the last 2 players are going to be either.
Right, it's very important
I would
because
say Caruana has the second best chance of repeating
after Firuja, yeah.
after Ferrugia. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. See, the problem is with the last two players, which we don't know much about it. In the candidate tournament last year that Nepomniachtchi won, the last two players, actually, they have decided the tournament.
mhm.
If you remember, Alexeyenko and Van Hao.
Wow, yeah.
Nepomniachtchi scored against these two players 3.5 out of 4. And
Right.
he's got 50% against everybody else. And
Although then
no.
again, the reason why those 2 players finished bottom of the table was that Pomnetji beat them. So it goes both ways. Yeah.
But there is another very important point. The
Mm.
tournament was spread to 2 years.
Right. That's true too.
Yeah,
And
that
another important point,
it
in the
is.
last round of the first leg, he lost the last game.
Yeah.
And then the tournament was retaken in a year time.
Yeah,
And we know that many times from the match, to some extent, his reaction to losses
he's
is
not
not great.
stable.
Yeah.
So
Totally agree.
Nepomniachtchi was a little bit helped by the system. But
Yes.
eventually, just one important point. Many people, who played these people like Karyakin or Rajabov, which I played in my career, it's very bad choices. Would you take Karyakin when you are the Russian guy playing the World Championship match, and he is completely the guy that the whole country, including Putin, investing for the title? He
Mm.
himself, yeah. Will he really help you?
Yes, Stuart, I agree, and I heard from my highly placed source, but I cannot identify him. Uh, you can guess who it is. He mentioned that there were huge problems in his team, and he mentioned these two players and so on. By the way, Rajabov maybe has some chances in this candidate tournament.
I
What
mean,
do you
I'm
think?
not so sure.
No?
Look,
No?
Rajabov is the guy. Look, Rajabov is very talented. Was always very talented. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put him under 10%. So
Mhm.
I mean, look, persons and chess in real game or even Firuze, with the rating now. Let's say a little bit, separate Firuzia's rating. Some of his rating came from a team tournament. Let's not forget. Some
Uh-huh.
of his success was against a guy who is really going there, and everybody wants to beat him, but nobody knows how strong he is. So he's not an established 2800 player. He had 2,800, and now we are talking about him. Now,
Right.
coming to Rajabov, Rajabov has some bad habits. Many times Rajabov plays the theory, and that just draws the game. Many times he doesn't have, technically speaking, weapons to take a game into an unknown territory where he will also have chances. He's the guy who doesn't risk very much. So, I mean, he never won something like this in his life. That big. He never ever won.
Yeah.
But
I
you see, again, there is another dilemma. Ken, I think on one of the previous programs we discussed, I think with Alex Yermolinsky, and he mentioned that if both players are playing very carefully, not taking any risk or so on, they can play on a level of 2,900, maybe even
Yeah,
3,000.
well, I have Carlson playing very consistently 2950 plus the entire match.
Mhm.
So yes, that's a possibility. If you don't take risks, you're going to seem very accurate. Yes,
Shweta, you agree with this?
look. I don't know. It's very difficult to formalize these things, but in my opinion, Rajabov winning the candidates, the score should be really low. Second, this wild carte blanche for a candidates tournament is crazy.
It's crazy.
Really,
Yeah.
I
If
mean,
it's only 8 places, it's crazy.
this is
Absolutely.
unacceptable. It's against
Absolutely.
completely against chess, and then they used it for Alexeyenko instead of somebody like Vasily Graf. We already spoke about it, and then Rajabov goes out, Vasily Graf smiles and says, "Comes there," and then there is this guy one call. He says like, "I'm not going to play it," and he is the first one, obviously, to check in the place. These are children, in some way, but. We will see what happens. It's very difficult. But in some way, we all know that this guy Carlsen is strong. He's different than that.
He is strong.
yeah, yes.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
for Firuzia, he has to prove certain things. He's a new name. When you are new somewhere, people treat you different. Now he will be treated maybe more carefully. And um, I don't want to make an analogy, obviously. Like the rapid game they played in this championship. When I watched a little, he was too nervous. After all, it's a different type of game, but also we know that in World Championship matches, different time controls are there. There is World Rapid Championship, there is World Blitz Championship. Still, this type of game decides the you know normal control World Championship, but. I've seen that he couldn't, for instance, handle uh, Carlsen in an important game because Carlsen wanted to beat him. If you beat him now, that there is a wound, no matter if it's a blindfold game, whatever type of game. But we will see. It's not the most important thing that who would win it. I want to see a clear, good competition, not like something they played in a year and then the measurement for the strength came in, into another year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say one thing about the split of years is Fabiano Caruana won the first game of the second year. And I thought that would give him momentum, but absolutely not.
It seems to me that there was a huge fight between Caruana, Giri, maybe Maxim Vachier-Lagrave, and they were fighting each other and beating each other and so on. And Nepomniachtchi was kind of standing there, watching how these guys are hitting each other, picked up a couple of points from Van Gaal, who said that he doesn't want to play chess anymore, and poor Alexeyenko, who mixed up his opening and so on, and essentially gave a point without a fight. And that was so strange, really, but it happened. Anyway, it's already in the books. Okay, so beside of course, World Championship match, what else is so memorable about last year? So we talked about candidate tournament. How about this Rapid and Blitz World Championship? Just happened in the last few days of
Right.
last year.
Yeah.
What
That
is
was
it?
interesting for the young players who
Yeah.
who took part in it. But you know, the my formulas were very accurate for projecting the level of play in the World Rapid. The men were slightly under, the women were slightly over. If I put them together, it's almost exactly on my projections.
Hmm.
And I mean, Noterbek Abdusattorov played well. Firuzja did not play so well. Carlson played well. Um, so, I mean, I could show figures on my screen if you want. Um,
Yes, please.
so, um, yeah, if you want to just do a quick flyover of figures. This is with Stockfish 7, which is some way the least particular of the engines that I use. But sure, I've got the my uh, Excel file open. So here's a quick flyover. This is completely objective data. Or maybe I shouldn't. But you know what? Never mind. You know what? I'm just going to show the ratings.
Mm.
Sorry, I should really just be showing the intrinsic ratings here. And so some people did well, some people not so well. Um, um, but
It's very,
the old,
very difficult to see anything. It
yeah,
feels,
that's right. I guess I'm showing it kind of
yeah.
small, and yeah, I guess I can make it go on the screen or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is a big spreadsheet.
Oh my
So,
God.
but the the projection was that the World Rapid would play 23.77 for the guys, and they played 23.22, which is sort of within the error bars. And the ladies are down here, and the ladies actually played about 46, 45 points over their projection.
Hmm.
So, so it's six of one, half a dozen of another. Opposite to the way I was expecting, maybe, or because there's a story is maybe for another day about how I do these projections. But
Yeah, it would be interesting to find
yeah,
out.
anyway, you could read about it on the Girdle's Lost Letter blog. There's an article titled Pandemic Lag from July. That's
Hmm.
easy to find. I've got an infinite regress on the screen now. That's pretty funny. But okay, I'll come back to you. Um, so the
Very.
blitz, the level of the blitz was a little bit under, and I'm still researching that.
Mhm.
So,
Wow, very interesting. Shot, what do you think about this tournaments?
No, it's some. The only thing I would say, which is interesting, I mean, I believe it was 4 years ago that Kasimjanov asked me to have a training with Uzbek people, and I was invited to Tashkent.
Hmm.
They had a great chess um, palace, a real palace.
Really? In
Yeah, it's a real
Uzbekistan?
palace. It's not like a building. It's a real spread over a couple of blocks. They had dormitories. People were living like boarding students there. Many classes with projection machines and everything. And
Wow.
Abdusattorov was coming into this training, and he was already a grandmaster, 3 years ago. And
Mhm.
funny enough, Said Ali Yurtashev, grandmaster, he was also present in a good part of it. There were many people. There were women. There were youngsters. There was a guy Harashev who was also from the national team, a little bit older than the others. You know, and okay, with up to Satrov, we were playing actually on demand of Yuldashev. We played 2 games of Rapid. We played a lot of Blitz. He was great, but you never guessed that the guy would go that big in the that you know in a short time, and beating Carlsen in their individual game. Although obviously, once again, I mean, all statistics are based on the result of the game, and Carlsen was really trying to win the game, no matter what happens, and he uh, his thirstiness, you know, made him to end up in some ridiculous positions in blitz, not in rapid. Some
Mhm.
of
right,
blitz
yeah.
games he was really down material. He kept on playing. Some of them he won, some of them he resigned. Like the one with Sochko, for instance, he was playing with peace. Now ridiculous, like. But okay, I mean, once I have spoken with Kasim Jadov when we had training, we were also playing Blitz, and I said, like, look, you play very well this Blitz. Why you don't score that well in this particular championships? He says like it is not the same, obviously, to meet these people one after another. So he says like some moment he has fatigue. This is a in this type of tournament, endurance is very important. It's I believe it's the most important thing. But otherwise, it's obviously the star event of last year was the World Championship match. I was just talking with you. I watched this movie
Oh yeah,
about
did
Baguio.
you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it in the sake of cinema,
I
but
see.
obviously they changed a lot of things. I mean, they cannot. And this guy Habansky, yeah, I watched.
Oh, he's fantastic
He's
actor.
really good. When I watched
He's very good.
Admiral, based on
Oh,
Kolchak.
I love it. Yeah,
So really, it was his
yeah.
performance was great. But here also he really played Korchnoi great. With one difference,
Mhm.
Korchnoi they made a very evil guy,
Of
the
course.
real Zlodey, came
What
out.
else is new?
No, but they exaggerated it. He was really bad, and everything was coming from him, and it was not emphasized on me. It was actually a great propaganda movie about Karpov. It was how difficult the situation was, and maybe
Mhm.
still is. I mean, he had to win this match. Now let's put ourselves in Carlsen's shoes. Also, he has to win any match. I don't know how much political pressure he had, but Karpov had. From Brezhnev to I forgot the name of the sports minister of that time, Kadanov or whatever. Like
I think that Karpov faced in this match something what happened through all his chess career. Remember, he was leading Korchnoi 3-0 in the first match in '74.
yeah, three
And
two it
then,
became that.
for some reason, he stopped winning, and Korchnoi won one game and another one, but Karpov held the match. Now in Bagia, remember what happened 5-2 and then 5-5. Now Kasparov, he was 5-0, and there was a game which he could win, I think 31, it would be 6-0. So Karpov had this unfortunate flaw of not finishing the job. Somehow he had a great hand to play poker hand, and all of a
Yep.
sudden he couldn't finish his opponent. So
But
it
it's
was
also. I mean, we know that chess is a sport.
yes.
Playing the game, we know that, and he was not that fit for such a long competition. When I could read about all these matches, uh, I think he used to lose something like 14 kilograms in those long matches, less than 15. And then the one where he couldn't finish Kasparov off, when he
Hmm.
was leading 5-0, I think it went to 17 plus kilograms. And then they really panicked his side. But about this thing, also his father, according to the movie, had some serious health issues. He had some first marriage. Obviously, they never mentioned that Korchnoi was with the mistress there, and
Mm.
he was alone.
Yeah.
you know, which is really a funny part. They didn't want to at least do this to Viktor Lvovich, and uh, and he had some problems with his wife, who had more expectations from him in some other parts of life, but he was really focused on this match.
Mm.
And interesting enough, his right hand there was shown like Balashov. Balashov really was over all the other guys. He was always with him, and obviously there was Baturizky. So it's a very
Mhm.
interesting movie to watch. If they wouldn't make this during the game talking, or they never mentioned this Germans of that time, maybe they just wanted to erase it from the history, or everything started even parapsychological warfare was initiated by Korchnoi.
Of course.
But okay, but it was Zuhar. Yeah, there was a guy Zuhar,
Oh, did they
and
show the Dr. Zucker?
definitely, but they
I've seen
show
it.
him like a very nice guy. Actually, in
Ah,
reality,
of course. Yeah, I forgot it
but
was
in
very.
reality, when these two criminals came, the English couple who kidnapped some parliament member in India, and I don't know if they killed him or not,
They
but
didn't kill
this,
him. Yeah,
they did, yeah.
I'm not sure. Let me see. Huh.
I
But they
think they were
kidnapped.
accused. They were accused of
They
killing
were
him.
accused of
Yeah.
yeah. So these people they came in. Uh, you know, I forgot what I was about to say. So yeah. In reality, not okay. You saw all these pictures, Korchnoi having something like yoga, gymnastic, whatever.
Yes.
But the, sometimes they said some magical words to Korchnoi, and Korchnoi was very brave. He caught the Zuhar in entrance,
Yeah.
and he told these words, and the guy made something like he covered his face. And actually, I think it was not because of the words. He thought like finally this mad guy attacked him.
No, but,
In
but I think it actually happened in a
no,
match.
no, this is not in the movie. This really
Oh,
happened in reality.
yes, it is. Yeah, it happened.
So they
Yes.
didn't show it in the movie,
Okay.
which was, but I mean, they really had to frame Korchnoi. Also, they had to have some limits on Korchnoi.
Hmm.
It was basically everything was important from Karpov's camp.
Hmm.
Sevastianov came, whatever. They didn't show for some reason Vasyukov, you know, but the basketball match, it was really interesting. So, well,
Tell me, did you? I haven't seen the movie, and I'm planning to see it. I think it's in Russian, and I have to go to one of the Russian movie sites to find it there. I'll do it. But I read on Facebook interesting observation by Emil Sutovsky, and he admits that although what happened in real life in Baguio is very different portrayed in the movie. No, it wasn't Sutovsky. I think it was Shipov who wrote this review. So Shipov says that it's funny. It's not really important what they showed in the movie and whether it's truth is what they said in the movie or was it in the real life in Baga. It doesn't really matter because Russian people will remember, and people who will be born in next generations, they will remember the movie. They don't care about what's happened really in Baga in so many years ago, but they will see this movie over and over for next 100 years, and they will know the truth how it is in a movie, not how it was in real life. That's the most ridiculous
Yeah, that is it.
comment.
no, but I don't find it ridiculous. No, no, he has a point. I mean, look, uh, all three of us, we lived those days.
Mhm.
Neither, I mean,
Yes.
either Shipov or Stovsky, by the way, okay. I mean, it's a mistake, but still. I mean, Mr. Stovsky, was he born in 78? Maybe he was.
Yeah.
But Shipov was too young, as Stovsky
She was
was.
very young, of
Yeah, I
course.
mean, and also, okay, Stovsky, I don't know what's his education or whatever, but Shipov, although a quite logical guy, he's a Bolshevik. He's one of the last people standing in the field, and the movie gives one this impression. I mean, this is forgotten. Whatever happened in Baguio, in reality, is forgotten. I was playing the Balkan Championship, and I was. We were traveling by car, and back to Turkey. The championship was finished, and I think we were sleeping over somewhere. And then, I mean, it was the period that it was coming from 5-2 to 5-5.
Yes,
And
I was a
later, we
student
read
at
a lot.
Princeton.
We knew everyone. I mean, even Zuhar for a Russian guy now, it doesn't mean anything. The name doesn't mean so. They will really remember, like Korstoy was an evil guy, while many people I played many games with Korchnoi. I had a good relationship with Korchnoi. I mean, friend is too much, but our wives were talking, whatever. Um, you know, uh, but the guy's nickname is Zulode.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So he will. I mean, everything fits into Shipov's description. Really, people would really believe that great teamwork, nice people, poor Tolia, and he really deserves it. Probably he's the better player. He's younger. Everything fits the image. I really support what Shipov has told. It's logical. Nobody would remember, like, okay, Korchnoi had really I mean, very strong games, very good preparations. Steen, Murray, Keane, they were never shown. Even Petra was shown like much younger and much more beautiful. According to the legend, how Sosonko introduced him to Korchnoi, okay, it was bypassed in the movie.
Mm.
So Sosonka is not in the movie, no?
No, Sosonko, of course, no, he's not
Yes.
in the movie. But Balashov completely overshadowed anybody else in the movie. I was really surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. It was a year after I played him in Lone Pine.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
I see.
And
Well,
Korchnoi was in Lone Pine too, yeah,
not that year. No, the year I played, it was a tie. It was the year that Nona Gaprindashvili tied for first place,
Oh yeah.
and that was recently. I saw a note on that or article in American Chess Magazine, I think, or note on Facebook, something like that, noting this is
Korchnoi was in 1981, yes?
Right.
1980.
Yeah, I was 1977. I tied for seventh, which was pretty good going, and but it's one of the exhibits A in Gaprindashvili's lawsuit about how
Yes,
strong she was
right.
in playing men. So that's
That's
why
right.
it's an interesting fact. I mean, and as I've said on Facebook as well, she had an up and down tournament. She won her first three, then I think half out of three or something like that, and then won her last three again. But she was always considered one of the top contenders.
Mhm.
And I don't recall any marveling among the players. Oh, this woman is doing well. She was one
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
highest rated players of the tournament. So
she was very, very strong. She was very competitive. I
yeah,
remember my wife Nava was playing in interzonal tournament we played in Malaysia, in Genting Highlands. It was July, and yet in Malaysia it was very cold because it's elevated place, and there was a casino, and she enjoyed playing roulette, and she was just fascinated by playing casino. And then I played this her backgammon, and she was furious. She was losing a few games here and there, and she was furious. She was, "Who's this guy from Canada? He's winning against me in backgammon. Cannot be. Let's play one more game." It's very competitive, but of course, she's one of the greatest champions of all time.
right.
It goes without saying. Well, guys, thank you so
Okay.
much for today's show. I'll give you a promise to watch this movie before our next show next Saturday. And Ken, maybe you'll be able to watch it as well. And
Yeah, if you send me the link, or if there's a way I can get it, I'll
Well, I
watch
mean,
it.
this is from the pirate sites.
yeah,
Just the movie went to movie theaters these days, so it's you have to find this pirated
Yeah,
version.
Yanya Ponimaya Peruski.
yeah.
If I can,
Well,
I
this
can follow
movie,
the pictures anyway.
yeah, I think there are pictures, and since you know really what's happening and so on, I don't think you even need to know Russian to enjoy the movie or hate this movie
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, I was on Shelby Lyman's broadcast of the Baguio match.
Yeah.
As I
Oh,
was on.
really?
Yes.
Oh, lucky you.
I predicted Korchnoi's moves in the first of his comeback games. That's the one, the H5 move in particular. So yeah.
Yeah. All I can say
Okay.
before the ending the show is that in 1983, Korchnoi was in Toronto. He was playing in one open tournament, which he won easily. And we enjoyed his company. We invited him in our house and had a very nice time with him. And then I met him several times after that. In 1988, after the St. John Chess Festival, we were flying back from St. John to Toronto on the same plane with Karpov. And Karpov had few hours before his flight to Amsterdam, and we invited him to our house. So both Korchnoi and Karpov were, of course, at different times in our house. We enjoyed this company. And with Karpov was the same thing. We played backgammon, and there was a time to go to airport for him to catch his flight to Amsterdam, and the score was 4-4. And I was scared that we will be late, and Karpov says, we cannot stop when the score is 4-4. We must play one more game. We did it. I lost. We got into the car, and we made it to the airport on time. Anyway, we'll talk more about this and other matters next Saturday. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.